We are in the Food and Wine Test Kitchen, and I'm so excited to be here talking about Mad Genius Tips, which is your video series. It's now a book. Tell me a little bit about sort of where this idea came from, both for the video series and the book.
I do hacks. That's a lot of what I do. But if you read and leaf through the book, you realize that they're actually really useful hacks, like chopping a bunch of eggs by putting them through a baking rack. And you know, a lot of times I come up with them out of need because either readers or our audience reaches out and says, hey, I want an easier way to do this. Or I'm, testing a recipe at Food and Wine, which I like to call my day job. And I decide I want to come up with an easier or faster way of doing something. And, but a lot of times, especially since the Mad Genius Tips video series has taken off, friends of mine reach out and say, hey, I have this really awesome idea that you should check out.
And so one of the other things about the book is that it's also trying to utilize things that you already have in your home. It's that, I don't have an ice cream maker, so how do I do this? I don't want to buy a pasta maker, I don't want to buy all of these things.
A lot of these tips that I do on video use tools, and they're tools that are used in unconventional ways that maybe take the place of a lot of those single-use kitchen pieces of kitchen equipment that you might buy.
Right, like Ziploc bags can be used for a lot of things.
Right, they definitely are great for storage, but you can do a lot more with them. One of my favorite things to actually use the Ziploc bag for is to make gnocchi, because you can just put the dough right into the bag, snip off the end, and pipe it into a pot of simmering water, rather than rolling out the gnocchi and cutting it.
There's 100 recipes and 90 tips in the book. But what are some of the ones that stand out to you that have changed your life in cooking at home? Pick your favorites of all your babies.
Out of all the 90 of them, which is your favorite? I think that one of my favorites, and it's actually one of the most simple, is to form burger patties using 2 takeout lids. And the reason for that is, one, I like to grill, and I make a lot of burgers in the summer, and it's so fast and it's so simple because all you have to do is take a chunk of ground meat, put it on a takeout lid, press another one on top, and you get perfectly formed, perfectly even patties that you could then just kind of flip onto a piece of parchment or baking sheet and pop it in the fridge until you're ready to grill them.
Right, and they're all the same size.
And they're all the same size, and they come off the grill beautiful. I love it. So it's one of my favorites.
That's one of your favorites. What are some of the others?
Probably baking a pasta in a bundt pan. And this,
so like pasta pie, I love that.
Yes, you get all these super crispy edges.
That is also similar to, potato pancakes and the waffle iron. I mean, often what you're doing is sort of looking at items that people have at home and using them in different ways. Does it make you look at all of your pots and pans and instruments differently?
Oh, totally. That's actually how I ended up finishing this book, was towards halfway through the book. I was like,
everything out.
I need to re-examine every piece of equipment that I have in the kitchen and decide what else can this do. And the waffle iron is the perfect example because, you buy a waffle iron and you get a waffle iron as a gift, and it essentially does one thing. But what if it could do more?
Right.
And that's what I show throughout the book. So not only can you make waffles, but you can make hash browns, and you can make brownies, and you can make cinnamon rolls, and there's just a ton of other things that you can actually cook in a waffle iron.
And what is your advice for people who say, I want to start, using things in my kitchen in a different way? Is it often be prepared for trial and error? Is it that it's more fun? What have you found in sort of doing the research for the series and the book?
I definitely think it's a lot of trial and error, because I oftentimes have an idea about how I want to use something or what something can be used for, and then I try it out and I'm like, this is not exactly right. Yeah. So much of the information that's out there right now doesn't work.
Right.
And so, fortunately, I get to work in the Food and Wine Test Kitchen. I get to try all these things out for fun or for work.
Right.
And
we won't tell anyone, but it's really fun.
And what I realize is that a lot of the hacks out there and a lot of the other techniques out there, they just don't work. And so what I get to do is I get to refine them, and with a little finessing, a lot of times they end up being spectacular.
Wonderful. Well, the book is Mad Genius Tips. If you want to have a little bit more fun in the kitchen and get more use out of most of your kitchen items, pick it up now. And also you can watch it online at foodandwine.com for the videos.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Justin,
Thanks
so much.